Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama, right here in downtown Northport. This is the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. You're listening to us on Apple Podcasts and on Amazon and Spotify. Wherever you're getting your podcast, you can subscribe, rate, and review the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. We appreciate everybody who's taken the time to do that. We appreciate it. We're a proud part of the BamaCentral Broadcasting Network, along with our friends Blue Collar Unplugged, Blake Byler, Matthew Gibson, and Jacob Pickle, talking all things Alabama basketball. So what will we do today? It's a fun Tuesday. It's been a good Tuesday. It's cold in Tuscaloosa. Hope you are staying warm wherever you are taking in the show. Of course, you can follow us at Joe Gaither 6 on any and all the social media machines. Send me your likes, comments, questions, queries, complaints right there to all the social medias at Joe Gaither 6. All right, so what will we do today on the Joe Gaither Show? It's Tuesday. It's the day before National Early Signing Date, and that is exactly where all my thoughts are, as tomorrow is going to be a huge day at BamaCentral, and you're going to want to follow it at BamaCentral on X, at Alabama Crimson Tide on Sports Illustrated, on Facebook, at BamaCentral SI on Instagram, as we'll bring you all the early signing day, National Early Signing Day coverage right there at BamaCentral.com. Now, there's a little intrigue. Actually, there's a lot of intrigue from my perspective with the Alabama class. There wasn't, if you'd asked me 6 days ago, is Alabama going to do anything? Is there going to be any need to follow National Early Signing Date other than it being a holiday? Well, no, is what I would have told you. I would have told you that the class is all locked up at 20 guys in the class. Then fast forward 6 days, you have Ryan Williams, who's reclassified. You have Ja'Shawn Ross, who has committed to the class as well. And you're up to 22 prospects. You've seen 11 of the 22 prospects already early enroll here at the Capstone. They've spent the last 3-4 days at practice, depending on when they enrolled. Some of the guys were here on Friday, some were here on Saturday, and some were here on Sunday, taking part in the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game over the weekend. So you've seen those 11 guys listed on BamaCentral.com's list, and you know that we've talked about 5 others who are going to early enroll as well. Red Morgan, Isaiah Faga, Jameer Grimsley, Justin Okoronkwo, and Jalen Mbakwe as well. So those 5 are planning to early enroll as well. So you're looking at 16 of your current 22 guys in your class are planning on early enrolling. And you all know, you've been following recruiting for quite some time. You didn't wake up yesterday if you're watching the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. No, you know that the early signing date, you all right down there, puppy? All right, good. You know the early signing date has become the new signing date, really, in college football. We saw that with the adjustment of the calendar several years ago. You know that there's not really many high-level prospects out there anymore, but Coach Saban and his staff have worked some magic. Firstly, they're working the transfer portal. That is actively going as we speak, and we're going to talk about a guy that Alabama got out of the transfer portal here in just a minute. But on the flip side, the last 6-7 days, Alabama has made sure that they are getting their way in on some guys that are committed elsewhere, made their way in on some guys who are still uncommitted. And tomorrow could be a really fun day here around BamaCentral.com. Tomorrow could be a really fun day following how the class of 2024 falls into place. All right, let's start with the transfer portal, though. Transfer portal action today in Tuscaloosa. Welcome LT Overton. If you haven't seen it on BamaCentral.com, you can read about it right now, or just hang out with us on the show and we'll talk about it. LT Overton, former 5-star, 4-star, 5-star, depending on wherever you look, out of Georgia, committed to Texas A&M, was in the famed Texas A&M 2022 recruiting class that drew all the ire of Nick Saban. He's been at Texas A&M for the last 2 seasons. He's played in, I think I wrote 23 games over the 2 seasons, but only started a couple. Look, he went to Texas A&M. He went to Texas A&M as to 285 pounds, and they wanted to trim him down to play edge rusher. Well, he wants to kind of transfer out of there and try his hand at defensive end, get that weight back up. he's going to be a good player here in Alabama. It's a huge get. You get a former five-star recruit and a guy who's familiar with the program. If you're not familiar with LT's family background, he spent many years here in Tuscaloosa. His parents working for the Capstone, working for the university. His father was an associate athletic director from 2009 to 2015, and his mother working for the university as well during that time period. So he spent time right here in Tuscaloosa. He knows what it's all about. He was high on Alabama's list during his recruitment, and obviously, that was the Jimbo Fisher that he bought everybody in his class, and so he went to Texas A&M and has not been very satisfied, it seems, with his role in the Aggie defense. I have no idea what his NIL status was with Texas A&M, but just rumors and whispers said that he was unhappy and that maybe what he was promised out there in College Station wasn't exactly coming true, wasn't exactly being delivered to LT Overton. So Alabama welcomes their first transfer out of the transfer portal. It's LT Overton. He's going to play defensive end. He's going to mix into next year's 2024 rotation. Unfortunately, he cannot play in the Rose Bowl. He can't play in the college football playoffs, but he will participate in practice, and it's a big get for the Crimson Tide. Big old player, 6'5", 265. They're going to get his weight back up to that 280, and they're going to get him playing explosively. And I think he's going to be a solid rotational piece to next year's Alabama defensive line. Let's talk about two more Texas A&M prospects that went into the portal that Alabama is kind of sniffing around on. First, Fadil Diggs. We talked about him on the program just a little bit. Defensive lineman Fadil Diggs looks for a new home, and he's found it with Syracuse. So Alabama out on Fadil Diggs. I think there was some outbidding that happened with Syracuse, and that's A-okay. Go Big Orange, go to Syracuse, play ACC football, make your money, Fadil Diggs, and, have a great season. That's no problem. If we're not a good fit, that's not a problem at all. Thirdly, Evan Stewart, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. We all knew at the end of the year he was going in the transfer portal. Well, not 5 minutes before I started on the program right here on Tuesday, 5 o'clock or so, he officially did go into the transfer portal. So it's kind of like breaking news, but news that everybody already knew. Former five-star wide receiver Evan Stewart is in the transfer portal, and he's going to get contacted by the who's who of really the Blue Bloods. He's going to get contacted by Alabama, by Georgia, by Michigan, really by everybody is going to try to throw a bag at Evan Stewart, and we'll see where those chips fall. But for now, Alabama celebrates LT Overton winning. That's a pretty good win out of the transfer portal. We'll see if it helps Alabama recruit his younger brother and really what LT Overton can bring to this Kevin Steele defense. All right, so you got 22 guys in the class. We've talked about them all, at different lengths in time. We've talked to several of them on the program. We've talked to Julian Sayem. We've talked to Sterling Dixon. They're early enrolled. We've talked to Casey Poe, who's early enrolled. We talked to Caden Jones. If you missed any of these interviews with any of these recruits, Casey Poe, William Sanders, Joseph Ayanada, you can check them all out on all the channels we've already outlined, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. You can check them out on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and Spotify as well. We've interviewed roughly 8 or 9 or so of the 22 guys. And for jumping in late in the cycle in May, I think that's pretty good. We're going to try to go after the whole 2025 class, and I'm very happy to start that pretty soon for you guys so we can get to know the 2025 class. But let's settle with the 2024 class. You already know they have moved from now number 3 in a lot of the composite rankings. 24/7 has moved them up to number 2 with bringing in LT Overton and Jay Sean Ross out of Kansas City, Missouri in the last day and a half. So they've moved from number 3 to number 2. Can Alabama move to number 1? Can the Tide move to number 1? What kind of room do they have? Well, basically, you take their class, you subtract the 5 guys out of the portal, they're gone. That leaves you some room. Basically, you start with 25. You count with 25, that's going to be your class. All right, the 5 guys that go into the portal, now you're up to 30. Boom, you're going to get 7 or 8 guys that go early in the NFL draft. Dallas Turner, J.C. Latham, it is what it is. Kool-Aid McKinstry, they've earned it. It is what it is. And so that's going to bump you up to more spots you can use in recruiting or more spots you can use in the transfer portal. Alabama has a lot of room, and there's actually a lot of guys, and this is why you want to pay attention to BamaCentral.com tomorrow. There's actually a lot of guys out there. Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys on my list. Oh, wow. I didn't plan it that way, but I have 10 guys on my list that I think that Alabama is still in on for the 2024 class, whether they're committed elsewhere or uncommitted. So let's break them down one by one by one. And I think that really, as I count this, I think they're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think Alabama's going to come up with 6 of these 10 guys in the next 24 hours. So here we go. Edric Houston is my number 1 guy on the list. Edric Houston, we talked about him just a little bit on the program already. 5-star defensive lineman out of Buford, Georgia. Buford High School. You guys all know Seth McLaughlin. You all know Jake Pope. You all know Isaiah Bond. And you all know Justice Haynes as well. So Edric Houston coming out of Buford High School as he's a big-time prospect. He's already committed to Ohio State, came on an unofficial visit this past weekend to Tuscaloosa, kind of a surprise unofficial visit without his parents. Kind of seemed like hey, I want to check things out one more time, see if Alabama can, sweeten the deal, perhaps. I think Edric Houston is one of the 6 guys that ends up in the Alabama 2024 class. Now, that's going to be a 50-50 bid. I feel a whole lot better about Tristan Jernigan. Tristan Jernigan is a 4-star linebacker out of the state of Mississippi, out of Tupelo, Mississippi. He's committed to Texas A&M. He's been visiting Tuscaloosa a lot this fall. And Coach Nick Saban made it a point to have an in-home visit with him in the last 2 weeks. I think Tristan Jernigan, he's been committed to Texas A&M, but it's funny. It's weird. One thing that's happening in this cycle right now, and Edric Houston is doing it as well with Ohio State. Tristan Jernigan going on to Twitter, he committed to Texas A&M early in May, in June. He has been committed to Texas A&M, but he went out to Twitter, Tristan Jernigan out of Tupelo, Mississippi, and said, "Oh, well, who should I choose tomorrow?" "Oh, are you going to choose again? I thought you were committed to Texas A&M." He said, "Who should I choose tomorrow, Alabama or Texas A&M?" Oh, so he's not really committed to the Aggies. And that's okay. I mean, look, this is the way that the kids do it these days, and I don't have really a problem with it. If I were a big-time prospect, my mother knows this, I would have really struggled with the attention. I would have struggled with, I'm out here taking pictures. And, dude, everything that Ryan Williams did over the weekend at Auburn, taking advantage of his opportunities to go visit other schools and kind of play the game with other schools, I would have been doing that too, because I got a little bit of that turd in me, a little bit of that arrogance in me, as maybe you can tell if you listen to the show or if you read me on BamaCentral.com. I try to iron it out and keep it as humble as possible, but I know that I would have not handled the attention very, very well. So Tristan Jernigan has kind of been slow playing, and especially once the Texas A&M administration fired Jimbo Fisher, and they obviously moved into a new direction with Coach Elko, it reopened things with his recruitment. So I think Tristan Jernigan is 2 of the 6 guys on this list of 10 that I think Alabama is going to walk away with. The other 4 are kind of out there. I don't really know how they're going to fall. All right, number 3 is Kevin Riley. If you are in the West Alabama area, if you're watching this show right here in Tuscaloosa, Northport, just right up the road, up 43, is my man Kevin Riley at Tuscaloosa County High School, 4-star running back, committed to Miami. And look, I think Alabama has really been a little bit struggling at running back in this class, and it's evident in the fact that they don't have a single running back committed. All right, so take that for what it is. They don't have a single running back committed. I don't really think that Robert Gillespie's done a bad job. I don't think Nick Saban's done a bad job recruiting running backs in this cycle. I just think that they've kind of been one step behind, just a little bit, one step behind, especially with what they did last year, getting Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams, getting the number 1 and number 2 running backs in the in all the classification ratings, 2 5-star guys. I think it's been hard to get somebody to jump on board. You see Jam Miller kind of stuck in between. You're going to see Jam and those other 2 basically take all the take the load next year for Alabama. You kind of are looking at, why should I go to Alabama if I am a premier running back? Kevin Riley has been committed to Miami for quite some time. Right here, homegrown guy, just plays his high school football, 3 miles away, 5 miles away from me, up 43. Great run, pretty good little running back. Playing on a bad team. I'm sorry, it is what it is. The Wildcats, just not a great team. They didn't have any real passing threat, so it was all Kevin Riley and his band of merry running backs playing for the County High Wildcats. And also take into account, County High plays in the hardest division in the state of Alabama. They do. And so Kevin Riley was battling uphill all year long for the Wildcats. Committed to Miami. He took an official visit to Alabama this past weekend, the last weekend of the cycle, basically. So Alabama got the last word with Kevin Riley, the homegrown talent, and I think he is number 3 of who is going to flip to Alabama tomorrow. All right, number four. Let me make sure I have my numbers right. Number 1, 2, 3. I have it as 4, 5. Yeah, Jaden Ball. Okay. Jaden Ball is the next running back that I want to talk about. I think that he is going to be flipping to Alabama. Well, he's not going to be really flipping because he decommitted. He decommitted from Arkansas. He was committed to Arkansas. 4-star running back out of Decatur, Georgia, 6 foot, 215 pounds. Considered the number 17 overall athlete in the class. And really, I mean, you got to get a running back. Daniel Hill is on this list. I don't think Alabama is going to come away with Daniel Hill, but I do think that Alabama is going to come away with 2 of the 3 running backs, Kevin Riley, Daniel Hill, or Jaden Ball. I am putting my money on it being Jaden Ball as the 4th prospect on this list that Alabama is going to add. So if you're up to 4 prospects, you take your class from 22 to 26 guys. You are kind of up at the upper end of the upper end. You're maxing out who you can take. All right, my number 5 prospect is Steve. We're going to have to get used to saying this. Mbuamua. Steve Mbuamua is a 4-star defensive lineman out of Canada, and I think that he has been flirting with Alabama for a long, long time and really hasn't been pushing his recruitment per se. I think he's been slow playing his recruitment. I think that's kind of the way that maybe the calendars work up there in Canada, and maybe that's my lack of understanding. But I think you're going to see Steve Mbuamua, a defensive lineman, added to this class as well, a late addition out of Canada. We're going international, going over the border. And lastly, my 6th addition that I think you're going to see tomorrow is Favor Edwin. Favor Edwin, a tackle out of Georgia, 3-star tackle, another one of these developmental guys. The class is full of developmental offensive linemen. And I think Favor Edwin is going to jump into the class basically due to numbers. Honestly, I think if Alabama had their way, they would have taken Jordan Seaton, the IMG tackle, who ended up going to Colorado. And that ended up breaking Alabama's heart just a little bit. And so they pivot to Favor Edwin, kind of a developmental guy, big long arm, 6'7" guy. So he fits the prototype, just hasn't really played a whole lot of high-level football in Georgia. So it'll be interesting. The competition curve will be very steep for him when he comes into Tuscaloosa. So those are 6 guys that I think you will see. I am putting my name on it. I am predicting that they will flip and they will join the Alabama 2024 recruiting class, taking Alabama to 26 prospects. But there's another handful of guys, 4 more guys that I think Alabama is going to be in on if they have a chance to be. If they have a chance to secure Daniel Hill, you heard me just mention his name, Daniel Hill, out of Meridian, Mississippi, 4-star running back out of Meridian, Mississippi. He's been playing Alabama, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Tennessee the entire time, the entire recruit. He's been slow playing the entire process. Now, he's got his own reasons for doing that, but look, Alabama's been after him. I think if he wanted to go to Alabama, then he would have committed already, and he would have been right there on campus. I think that he's one of these guys who, just like I was mentioning earlier, likes the attention, likes the recruitment, and he's going to take it all the way to the end of the line before he dots the line, puts his name on the line for Mississippi State, is my prediction with Daniel Hill based on the father's legacy. All right, going forward, Perry Thompson. Look, Perry, you got to bring him up when it's talking about this because you never know what the kid's going to do. Perry Thompson has absolutely been one of those guys who enjoys the attention. Big-time prospect out of Foley, wide receiver, committed to Auburn. He was committed to Alabama, committed to Auburn. Lately has been asking for edits, photo editors for social media. Now, he did put out a photo edit where he was committing to the All-American Bowl, but I think that he's got another edit in his pocket about committing to Alabama if he wants to pull the trigger, and we'll see if he wants to do that tomorrow or not. I don't think that that's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and predict that he stays with Auburn, but I think that that's going to be something that we're going to have to pay attention to tomorrow on the live blog tracker right here on BamaCentral.com. We just talked about Jaden Ball. We talked about Steve Mua. We talked about Favor Edwin. We touched on Jordan Seaton. There's my number 4. Jordan Seaton also been playing social media games, committed to Colorado, was all the way up in Texas's business and Alabama's business as well. We'll see if he holds his commitment to Colorado. And last but not least is Arian Hampton. I think Arian Hampton is a guy, a big-time athlete. He's already committed to Texas, but he's been still flirting with Alabama through the entirety of the season. I saw Arian Hampton at the LSU game. He's taken lots of visits to Tuscaloosa since committing to Texas. And maybe Arian Hampton's a guy that doesn't sign tomorrow and takes his recruitment all the way up to February, the old original signing date. All right, so last thing I want to talk about with the recruits is about the early enrollees. Look, we heard from Nick Saban yesterday in the Naylor Stone media room. He's not allowed to talk about the early enrollees until tomorrow's press conference. We'll talk about that with him tomorrow. But I want to talk about Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe was in the Naylor Stone media room today, and Jalen Milroe is not really under the same restrictions that Coach Saban is. And somebody asked him about Julian Sayin and how Julian Sayin is looking. And essentially he said, he said the quarterback speak things that you thought he was going to say, but he said, oh, the kid can spin the bean really good. The kid throws the football really well. He's come in with a good understanding, a good head on his shoulders. All I can do is tell him what I experienced here as a freshman. Jalen Milroe was basically very complimentary of the early enrollee. And look, this is who Jalen Milroe is as a human being. He is going to say the right things in front of the media. He may be upset in the background that this 5-star is coming to campus, but he's going to say the right thing in front of the media. And it's only going to be a better thing for everybody's game, really. Jalen Milroe's not going to lose his job over the summer to Julian Sayin. He's not. Like, that would be absurd. That would literally blow my mind if that happened. If Bryce Young couldn't take the job away from Mac Jones, then ain't no way that Julian Sayin is taking the job away from Jalen Milroe, in my opinion. Now, I'm not Nick Saban, and I'm not Tommy Reese, so I don't know. Man, you never know what could happen over the next 4 or 5 months, but I would be absolutely shocked if that happened. I think that Jalen Milroe is going to be a good big brother to Julian Sayin, and they're going to pass it off seamlessly between the two of them. And unfortunately, you're probably going to see a guy like Ty Simpson, a guy like Eli Holstein transfer out of the program, and you hate that, but it's just the nature of the beast so far. All right, so let's get out of here. Look, we hit on bowl games just a little bit on Monday from Saturday. We hit on all the results, and we know that we went 4-3 over the bowl games. We're going to reiterate our pick for tonight's game, UTSA and Marshall in the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. UTSA is a 7.5-point favorite in Frisco, Texas. I am taking UTSA, the Texas squad. I know that they have a lot of opt-outs. I know they have a lot of guys in the transfer portal, and one of the guys is visiting the Capstone right now. But I'm taking UTSA to win this Tuesday night bowl game. Are there any bowl games on Wednesday? No, the next one after that's going to be Thursday. So I'll give my Thursday pick for the roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, South Florida and Syracuse. We'll give that pick tomorrow on the program. So that'll be fun. You'll have to stick around and see how well I do picking bowl games. Really and truly, I mostly just pay attention to Alabama and Alabama's opponents. So I'm picking a lot of these bowl games, not blindly, because I do pay attention to the sport. But if it doesn't affect Alabama, then I'm not really a true expert on it. I will say that. All right, so last thing for the day, and we appreciate everybody who's watched us on BamaCentral.com, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Amazon, and you've listened to us on Amazon, on Spotify, and on Apple Podcasts. I appreciate everybody who's listened to us. You can look us up on all those places. Subscribe, rate, review the show, send the show to a friend, an Alabama fan, an Alabama hater, an SEC fan. We kind of cover it all as best we can. We're going to get into Missouri and Mississippi State. We'll have a Missouri and Mississippi State segment later on in the week after their signing day shenanigans kind of settle out. That'll be a good topic for those guys to get into with Cowbell Corner and Mizzou Central. We're always brought to you by your favorite sponsor. If you want to sponsor the program, you can reach out to me at Joe Gaither 6. We appreciate anybody who's interested in the program. We can read your ad read right here. Oh, the best soda in the world is Dr. Pepper. Oh, this is Diet Coke. There's our ad read for the day, as I'm going to have a lot of water later in the evening enjoying the bowl games. All right, so last topic for the day is Nate Oates. Nate Oates, golly, he just had a media session out there in Phoenix. The guys are going to get their butt kicked tomorrow. They're going to get their butt kicked tomorrow. Oh, unfortunate. Arizona, another front line loaded team, big team. Coach says, hopefully we can make more threes. Oh, Coach, that's not strategy. That is not strategy. And look, I love you, Coach. I do. I am a homer. My Alabama Crimson Tide glasses for basketball are this thick. And for those who aren't watching, that my fingers are very wide. I love you, Coach Oates, but that is not a good strategy. Hopefully we can make more threes. No. Hopefully we can get more dadgum stops. Get more stops in the paint. Get Grant Nelson rotating. Get Grant Nelson playing better offensively and defensively. Get Grant Nelson playing like a top 10 transfer in the country that he was supposedly supposed to be. And look, I love you, Grant. When you played good, you've been a lot of fun to watch. You can throw down a jam, my man, and that's a whole hell of a lot of fun. But goodness gracious, Unicorn, Grant, we're going to need more consistency out of you. Mark Sears, Aaron Estrada, can you get down into a defensive stance and guard somebody? Caleb Love and Jaden Bradley. Yes, our buddy Jaden Bradley is coming right at your bleeping neck. Coach asked for the players to shoot 50 threes tomorrow night. 50 threes tomorrow night against Arizona in the Footprint Center. And Coach, look, I am a defender of your system. I do love the 3-and-D system. I love the analytical approach. I understand the real value and the real system is to get to the hole. You put a layup, put a dunk into the basket. Give me that 1.8 points per possession. But you're saying we need to shoot 50 threes tomorrow night to beat Arizona. Basically, you're saying at this point, this team cannot defend. So the only way for this team to play is to outscore teams. So you can't go 4 of 22 like you did against Creighton from behind the three-point line. And so what kind of a strategy is that? We just got to play faster? We just got to play even faster? I mean, Coach, look. We all looked at the schedule when we saw the schedule at the beginning of the year, and we saw Purdue, we saw Creighton, we saw Arizona, all 3 in a row. And, of course, look, the objective people thought that's going to be 3 losses in a row. My homerism thought, maybe Alabama gets 1, maybe Alabama can get 2, and maybe Alabama can play real well and win all 3. No, undoubtedly, they have not been able to play really well against, look, Coach said, our best game was against Creighton, and maybe this is my real amateur basketball eye, but sure, like, did you play good against? I don't really think you played that good against Creighton. You played atrocious on defense against Creighton. Yeah, your shots didn't fall. You went 4 of 22 from the three-point line. If you go 8 of 22, you win the game. I get that. I understand the shooting percentages can rise, and you can win the game that way by outscoring your opponents. But, Coach, are we just punting? Is that what we're doing? Are we punting on the defensive side of the floor at this point? They've got a lot of 7-footers, and we just got to have to hope that we make some more threes. We're going to have to put up 50 threes in the game to win. I challenge the guys to shoot. Whoa, Coach, you're the coach. I'm not the coach. You're Coach Oates. Your butt's on the line. My butt's not on the line. And so, look, I hope that you've got it right. I hope that that's the strategy. But my simple brain, my Johnny-come-lately, who's never coached a basketball game in my life. Now, I've watched a whole hell of a lot of basketball, but goodness gracious, I've never coached any. So, Coach, you've got that definitely over me. I don't know if that's going to be the right strategy for that. Now, look. Prove me wrong tomorrow. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I'll be happy to eat some crow. Look, now I'll have to drink a lot of coffee before that game. Folgers in your cup. We can make coffee sponsor here. Your favorite coffee shop. We love Turbo. We love all kinds of great coffee shops in Tuscaloosa. We like Strange Brew for sure. But no, look, I don't think that's a good strategy. And we'll find out tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock. Tomorrow's going to be a packed day. Tomorrow's going to be a packed day around here at BamaCentral. Of course, you can follow me at Joe Gaither 6. I'll have live updates for an early signing date, national early signing date, going up pretty early, like 6:30, 7 a.m. probably, because these guys, look, the first 11, you already know. You already know who is on the who is here as far as the first 11. So you can basically count that out. You know that Julian Sand is here. You know that Xavier Brown is here. You know that Caleb Odin, Jeremiah Beeman, Casey Poe, Peyton Woodyard, Sterling Dixon, Joseph Ionata, William Sanders, Caden Jones, and Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. are already in town. practicing, doing their best to keep up with the guys. You know that Red Morgan, Isaiah Faga, Jameer Grimsey, Justin Okoronkwo, and Jalen Mbakwe are going to be here fairly soon. They're signing early as well. So there's 16 of your 22 guys. The biggest juice is of the 10 guys that we talked about on the show today. Will they sign with their schools that they're already committed to, or will they be flipping to Alabama? You'll have to follow us at BamaCentral to find out. We'll have another show tomorrow. We're going to have Blake Lavelle join us tomorrow to talk SEC basketball. Look, like I said about SEC football, or like I said about the bowl games and football, all I really pay attention to is how it affects Alabama. I'm bringing Blake Lavelle in to talk about the entire league. Tell me about Arkansas. Tell me about Texas A&M, Tennessee, Kentucky. Tell me about all these other teams and how their non-conference schedules have gone. We will make sure that Blake Lavelle will join us. We're planning on that happening tomorrow morning at 11, and that'll be a lot of fun. We're going to get out of here for the day. We appreciate everybody who's followed us on any of the platforms, whatever your favorite platform is, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, at Joe Gaither 6 on all the social media machines, at BamaCentral on all their social media machines as well. Chris Walsh, I appreciate you so much. Enjoy your time off. We're going to be back tomorrow with more Alabama football, more Rose Bowl, more basketball, way more stuff right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com.